Hello, fellow humans. My name is Dorothy Laxton, and this is Fostering Untethered Communication and Knowledge, an adventure in stimulating objective, critical thought, shining the spotlight through individual spectacles, putting it once again on the bigger picture and our parts in it. Searching for life beyond the lifestyles we North American urban dwellers have to choose to chase, encouraging all to participate in positive change. I need to make this painfully clear. I more than understand and acknowledge gender fluidity. I recognized gender fluidity. What we're talking about here is a psychological construct. It is overtly recognized that this is a psychological construct, okay? It is not a physiological thing. It is how we are framing and judging how we are created and deciding we don't like it. The fact of the matter is, sexuality is probably the most difficult component of the human condition. Sexuality is something that is both, but is fundamentally a bodily function that is paramount to the propagation of the species. And it is also something that is very deeply part of our spiritual connection, because there is duality. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that we have extremes, dual extremes in all sorts of ways, and the masculine and the feminine are the most obvious. And so when we are talking about personality characteristics that really know no gender boundary, but we divide them because of tendencies due to some physiological matters, that doesn't mean that every person born with a particular, this whole matching our physiology and our psychology, there's a connection between them, but we're really confused. It breaks my heart, because rather than allowing ourselves to go through the awkward experience of being human beings and deciding, finding out what it is, we're prejudging everything and putting everything in categories, and here are the boxes that you have to check to be this and that and the other thing. And that's just not the way human beings work. Okay, 7 billion people are 7 billion wonderful, different, unique manifestations of the human condition. And the more we judge the way we come and decide that we have to mess with it rather than accept it and learn how to work with it and love it regardless, and that's not to say anything. I am a very masculine woman. I always have been. Is it entirely possible that yes, I have 2 exes because, something happened and the one little leg didn't fall off and make the X a Y? That's kind of the way that I simplify it in my own brain. And this is a thought I had 30 years ago. Far before this was idle conversation on commercial breaks, while watching TV. I don't know if people even do that anymore. And I know I'm going to be so grossly misinterpreted and labeled, because my bent is we need to get back to what we naturally are, and all of the wonderful, unique, varied, undefinable mysterious, awesome manifestations of humanity that we each individually are. And you can't come up with 7 billion pronouns, dudes. That's why we have names. I like they. I do. I always, and it's really quite funny because, him, her only really became a huge issue in writing convention in the 20th century. Prior to all of this discussion about gender, convention actually very frequently was to use words like one instead of him or her, and they, and then there's always the royal we, right? This recognition that we're two halves of a whole is something that disappeared this is all means of systemic division. Individual human beings would not come to these conclusions. This is a way to drag us around by our amygdalas and forget that we're human beings so that they can treat us like cogs. It's just one more way. And it seems like, it's what you want. But tell me how many of us are in distress so much. And it's not because society judges us. It's because society has taught us to judge ourselves and shame ourselves and not accept ourselves. They have literally turned us into our own abusers. And it's gotta stop. And I hope that people will see that's what I'm trying to say, because there has been legislation enacted that the way it is worded could land me in jail. And that just isn't fucking fair. But that's a whole other story. My heart breaks for our culture and where we've gotten to. And my heart breaks for the current and next generations, because there's a lot of mess, and we haven't really, it's so much mess now that there really doesn't seem to be any semblance of what clean is anymore, what pure is anymore. I think innocence really, wow, man, some of my earlier poetry is just really resonating these days. Close my eyes, blood dead, blood red child's dead, no head. Only head, no heart, no heart. Locked away, coffin for a soul. Exhumation only proves that innocence is lost. Yeah. I'm sad for us all.